It's easy to associate luxury with cost, exclusivity, prestige, or status. Those ideas have long been part of the conversation, and they're often the first things that come to mind when we hear the word. And while those things certainly exist within the luxury space, I think it's important not to forget some of the other aspects of luxury at the same time. The aspects that relate to time, routine, quality, and even mental capacity. In many ways, those are the qualities that become increasingly important once everything else wears down. And they're what I find myself thinking about most when I consider what luxury really means. Over time, I've become much more interested in how luxury fits into everyday life. The purchases I've appreciated most aren't usually the ones that impressed me at first. They're the ones that continue to deliver value years later. The ones that quietly became part of my routine, saved me time, reduced friction, and made ordinary moments a little better. To me, that's an important distinction. Luxury isn't always about the product itself. Sometimes it's about what the product gives back to you. It might be a few extra minutes in the morning, greater peace of mind, less mental clutter, or simply the enjoyment of using something thoughtfully designed. Those benefits may seem small on their own, but repeated day after day, they become surprisingly meaningful. After all, our lives are largely made up of repeated moments. We wake up, get ready, work, travel, carry our essentials, and return home. Most of life happens within those routines. So when a product consistently improves those experiences, that's where I begin to see real luxury. Not as excess, but as thoughtful design applied to everyday life. So in today's video, I want to share 10 luxury purchases that have genuinely improved my daily life. Some are fashion related, some are travel essentials, some are for the home, and some are technology products. But they all have one thing in common. They've earned a permanent place in my life because they continue to provide value long after the excitement of buying them has faded. So let's get into it. I'll start with something I use almost every single day, the Dyson Supersonic hairdryer. Dyson is one of those brands that has built its reputation by approaching everyday products from an engineering-first perspective. Rather than simply making products look modern, they tend to rethink how they function altogether. The Supersonic hairdryer is a perfect example of that philosophy. Instead of relying on the traditional hairdryer design, Dyson relocated the motor into the handle, creating a more balanced and ergonomic experience, while also giving the product its now iconic silhouette. From a design perspective, it feels unmistakably Dyson. The aesthetic is clean and modern, but every detail appears to serve a purpose. The magnetic attachments snap into place effortlessly, the controls are intuitive, and the overall experience feels incredibly refined. What makes this product worthy of a place on this list isn't just the premium design, although that certainly contributes to the experience. More importantly, it's the functionality and the remarkable consistency it delivers every single day. Hair drying becomes faster, styling becomes easier, and the results become far more predictable. When something is part of your routine nearly every day, those improvements quickly add up over time. In fact, I've become so accustomed to that consistency that I immediately notice when it's missing. Whenever we travel without the Dyson Supersonic, drying my hair suddenly feels frustrating because my expectations have been completely recalibrated by years of using it. A properly dried, smoother foundation makes styling significantly easier afterward, and I've come to realize just how much of a difference that initial step makes. For me, this is probably the #1 purchase on this list that I genuinely cannot live without. Dyson recently introduced the Supersonic travel hair dryer, and I'm seriously considering picking one up simply because not every hotel uses Dyson products. That's how much I've come to value the experience. More than almost any other item I own, this product has improved my morning routine. It removes friction, creates consistency, and helps ensure that my day starts on the right note. Next is the Hermès Calvi card holder. When most people think about Hermes, their minds immediately go to handbags. But some of the brand's smaller leather goods are equally impressive, and the Calvi is one of my favorites. At its core, it's an incredibly simple product. It's essentially 2 leather compartments folded into a compact design with no unnecessary features, excessive hardware, or visual clutter. That simplicity is exactly what makes it special. Hermes has spent decades building a reputation for exceptional leather craftsmanship, and that expertise becomes apparent when you interact with the Calvi on a daily basis. This one I have is made in Epsom calfskin, a leather that's known for its durability, structure, and subtle texture. The leather feels substantial, the edges are beautifully finished, and the overall construction inspires confidence. What I appreciate most is how little space it occupies while still carrying exactly what I need. It slips easily into almost any pocket and encourages a more intentional approach to what I bring with me each day. One feature that has become unexpectedly important to me is its ability to accommodate an AirTag card while remaining remarkably compact. A few years ago, I nearly lost a previous card holder after it slipped between the cushions of a hotel couch, and ever since then, I've preferred having some form of tracking built into the items I carry most often. I've tested several card holders that seem to work with AirTags, but many have structures that are too complex. The Calvi is one of the few options I've found that can comfortably hold an AirTag card without compromising its slim profile and simplicity. That added peace of mind has been a genuine quality of life improvement, especially when traveling. Rather than adding complexity, it simplifies. Over time, that simplicity becomes surprisingly valuable because it frees up some mental bandwidth for the things that matter more. One of the less traditional luxury purchases on this list is Whoop. Unlike many wearables, Whoop doesn't focus on notifications, messages, or creating another source of distraction. Instead, it focuses almost entirely on health, recovery, and performance. The device continuously tracks metrics such as sleep quality, recovery, strain, and overall readiness. What makes Whoop particularly interesting is its ability to transform that information into actionable insights. Rather than simply presenting data, it helps identify patterns and encourages better decision-making. The design itself is also refreshingly understated. There's no screen demanding attention, no constant buzzing, and no endless stream of notifications interrupting your day. That pure simplicity is something I genuinely appreciate. For me, the value isn't in collecting health data for the sake of collecting data. The value comes from increased self-awareness, understanding how certain behaviors affect recovery, aging, recognizing habits that support better performance, and making more informed decisions based on objective feedback can have a meaningful impact over time. When I look at my stress data through Whoop, what I find most valuable isn't simply seeing when my stress levels increased, it's understanding what may have contributed to those spikes. Over time, I've started recognizing patterns tied to certain mindsets, activities, or even situations that consistently elevate my stress. That awareness has helped me become more intentional about stepping away from those triggers and finding healthier ways to regulate my stress throughout the day. More than just another stream of data, Whoop has genuinely given me an opportunity to learn more about myself and make better decisions for my overall well-being. If you've watched my channel for a while, this one probably won't come as a surprise. The RIMOWA original cabin has become one of my favorite travel purchases and one of the products I consistently recommend. Founded in Germany, RIMOWA built its reputation around aluminum luggage and a distinctive grooved design language that remains instantly recognizable today. What I appreciate most about the brand is the balance between engineering and aesthetics. The luggage looks beautiful, but it also performs exceptionally well. The wheels glide effortlessly through airports, the telescoping handle feels solid and dependable, and the overall construction inspires confidence. In 2022, the introduction of a lifetime warranty has further reinforced the brand's commitment to longevity. Beyond the specifications though, what I value most is how it improves the travel experience itself. Travel already comes with enough variables, whether it's airport crowds, security lines, delays, or unexpected changes in plans. Having luggage that performs reliably removes one less thing to worry about. What further reinforced my confidence in RIMOWA was having first-hand experience with their lifetime warranty in Berlin. I needed assistance with my luggage, and the process was remarkably straightforward and seamless. That experience transformed the warranty from a marketing promise into something tangible and genuinely valuable. Knowing that support is available if something happens to my luggage has completely removed the worry of damage and the need to search for alternatives or replacement solutions while traveling. In many ways, that's the real luxury. Not just the product itself, but the peace of mind that comes with it. It removes travel friction before it even occurs and frees up mental bandwidth that would otherwise be spent thinking about potential problems. When a product accompanies you on nearly every trip and consistently delivers that level of reliability and reassurance, those benefits become increasingly meaningful over time. One of the oldest items in my collection is my Louis Vuitton key holder. I've owned it for nearly a decade, and perhaps the most impressive thing about it is how little it has changed throughout that time. Louis Vuitton built its reputation around travel goods designed to withstand years of use, and that emphasis on durability remains one of the brand's strongest qualities. The key holder itself is remarkably simple. It organizes keys, protects other items in your bag from scratches, and keeps everything contained in one compact package. It's not a groundbreaking innovation, but it solves a common problem elegantly and effectively. What makes it particularly valuable is the frequency of interaction. Keys are something most of us reach for multiple times every single day. Because of that, even a small improvement in organization and convenience can have an outsized impact over time. And while build quality is one thing, emotional durability is another. Even if if you choose a well-made product. Selecting a brand with a strong heritage can create a lasting connection that endures long after the initial purchase. That kind of value is easy to overlook, but it often becomes more apparent with time. For my own preferences, I like to keep all of my keys together, including my car key. Because of its size, the car key has to hang outside of the holder, but in practice that actually works better for me. I don't have to open the key holder, remove the key, and then press the button. I can simply grab it and use it immediately. Similar to my card holder, I've also tucked an AirTag card inside, which turns out to be an incredibly practical use of the interior slot. It gives me the peace of mind of knowing I can always locate my keys if needed, without adding any noticeable bulk. To be honest, most of the time I don't even think about the key holder's existence, and I think that's one of the strongest compliments I can give it. It has become so frictionless and so seamlessly integrated into my daily routine that it simply does its job without ever demanding attention. After nearly 10 years of ownership, that kind of reliability and ease of use speaks volumes about its quality. The Loewe Cubi Crossbody has become one of my favorite travel companions. Loewe is a brand that has undergone an incredible evolution over the past decade, successfully blending traditional craftsmanship with contemporary design. The Cubi reflects that philosophy beautifully. The silhouette is understated, the branding is restrained, and the overall design prioritizes functionality without sacrificing elegance. It's the kind of piece that feels thoughtful rather than attention-seeking. What surprised me most is how much it actually holds. Despite its relatively compact appearance, the bag accommodates far more than you might expect. Whenever I travel, I typically need to carry my camera, tablet, sunglasses, electronic accessories for my devices, passports, and wallet. While a backpack would certainly offer more compartments and organizational features, I've found that I still prefer simplicity and style whenever I can. The Cubi strikes that balance remarkably well, allowing me to keep all of my essentials close at hand without feeling bulky or overly technical. Another advantage is that once I arrive at my destination, I can continue wearing it while exploring, and it transitions seamlessly from a travel bag into a stylish everyday accessory. For travel, that's incredibly useful because it allows me to carry everything comfortably while maintaining a streamlined profile. The best travel products tend to disappear into the background. They don't demand attention, they simply work. The Cubi does exactly that, which is why it has become such a reliable part of my travel routine. Moving into the home, one of my favorite purchases has been the In Between SK1 dining chairs from Tradition. Founded in Denmark, Tradition is known for combining classic Scandinavian design principles with contemporary craftsmanship. The In Between chair, designed by Sami Kallio, is a beautiful example of restrained and thoughtful design. Nothing about the chair feels excessive. Every curve feels intentional, the proportions are beautifully balanced, and the craftsmanship is immediately noticeable. It's the kind of piece that demonstrates how simplicity can often be more difficult to achieve than complexity. Unlike many luxury purchases, this isn't something you carry or wear. It's something you live with every day. You see it, use it, and experience it repeatedly, often without consciously thinking about it. I also think the role of dining chairs is far more important than most of us realize. Some of our most meaningful moments happen around the dining table. Beyond simply enjoying a home-cooked meal, it's where families gather, talk about their day, share stories, celebrate milestones, and create memories together. Because of that, I was very intentional when choosing our dining chairs. Comfort was important, but so were the materials, craftsmanship, design, and long-term durability. What I appreciate about the In Between chairs is how beautifully they age over time. The wood develops character, the chairs become more familiar, and they quietly accumulate family memories year after year. In many ways, they become part of the backdrop to everyday life. From a design perspective, I also wanted something that felt personal rather than simply popular. While many widely recognized chair designs have earned their status as classics, I've learned that it's more important to choose pieces that genuinely reflect my own design preferences and help create a home that feels uniquely ours. I didn't want to pick a dining chair that I would constantly see in every restaurant, coffee shop, or hotel. Instead, I wanted something that felt intentional and authentic to our space. And over time, those repeated interactions create a sense of satisfaction that's difficult to quantify. Good furniture contributes to how a space feels. Well-built pieces with timeless design remain in your home year after year, quietly becoming part of your life story. There's something meaningful about living alongside objects that endure, creating continuity and memories in a way that constantly replacing lower quality furniture every few years simply never can. One of the most unique products in my home is the transparent speaker. Originating from Sweden, Transparent has built its identity around creating audio products that celebrate rather than conceal their components. The result is a speaker that feels almost like a piece of functional art. The transparent enclosure immediately captures attention, but what I find most compelling is how it transforms the role a speaker plays within a space. There are countless speakers on the market with excellent sound quality and impressive build quality. What Transparent has done differently is make the speaker itself part of the visual experience. Rather than disappearing into a corner as a purely functional object, it becomes an intentional element of the room. The transparent design draws your eye in and creates a visual presence that complements its audio performance. At the same time, the design reflects a broader philosophy centered around honesty in construction, repairability, and longevity. The modular approach allows components to be repaired or upgraded over time, extending the lifespan of the product. The result is something that feels less like a piece of technology and more like a thoughtfully curated object within the home. Of course, none of those ideas would matter if the speaker didn't perform well. Fortunately, it sounds great while also serving as a visual centerpiece. What I find interesting is that most of us don't have music playing all day long, especially in spaces like a bedroom. Personally, I probably turn mine on only a couple of times a week, sometimes even less. That means the majority of the time, its value isn't coming from its sound quality alone. Instead, it's contributing to the atmosphere of the room simply through its presence. When I'm reading or unwinding at the end of the day, the speaker adds visual interest without feeling intrusive. Even when it's completely silent, it functions almost like a piece of decor. In that sense, I interact with it far more through its presence than through its audio performance. To me, that's what makes it such a compelling product. It delivers great sound when I want it to, but it also enhances the space during all the moments when it's not being used. Because those moments make up the majority of its life, that decorative value becomes surprisingly significant. It's one of those rare products that successfully satisfies both practical and aesthetic needs at the same time, and that's something I value deeply when evaluating luxury purchases. The Leica Q3 is one of the most impactful purchases on this list and has fundamentally changed how I approach photography. Leica has spent more than a century building a reputation for precision engineering, exceptional optics, and a uniquely engaging shooting experience, and the Q3 embodies those qualities beautifully. It combines a full-frame sensor, a fixed 28mm lens, compact dimensions, and an interface that prioritizes photography over unnecessary complexity. While the specifications are impressive, what I appreciate most is its simplicity. One of the first things I noticed was how much I enjoyed the images straight out of the camera. Photographers often talk about the Leica look, and while it's difficult to define, the colors feel natural, the contrast feels balanced, and the overall rendering has a subtle character that I find incredibly appealing. The images stay remarkably true to what I actually saw, which is something I value when documenting everyday life, travel, architecture, and design. An added benefit is that I spend far less time editing. Because I already enjoy the colors and tonality coming directly from the camera, the workflow feels simpler and more enjoyable. The fixed 28mm lens is another feature I've come to love. While some photographers see it as limiting, I find it liberating. It removes a layer of decision-making and encourages me to focus on composition, light, timing, and observation rather than constantly thinking about equipment. That philosophy extends throughout the entire camera. The controls are intuitive, uncluttered, and purposeful. Nothing feels excessive. The camera simply gets out of the way and allows me to focus on seeing rather than managing gear. In a world filled with endless options and distractions, I've found that simplicity incredibly refreshing. It has made photography more enjoyable, and that's ultimately why the Leica Q3 has earned a place on this list. The final item is my Louis Vuitton Dopp kit. Travel accessories rarely receive much attention, but they're often the products you appreciate most when they're designed and built well. Reviewed in my Tokyo shopping video, I picked up this Dopp kit during that trip, and I've been loving it ever since. Having had my Louis Vuitton key holder for nearly a decade, I already had a good sense of what to expect in terms of durability and long-term performance. While I generally pack quite light whenever I travel, I do need a toiletry bag as spacious as this one. I'll do a deeper breakdown of what I actually carry at some point, but having sensitive skin, I don't compromise on leaving behind the products I genuinely need. On top of that, I often need to carry essentials for my kids as well, so having a roomy Dopp kit isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Design-wise, what I absolutely love is the double zippered closure. It keeps everything secure while opening wide enough to provide easy access to the contents inside. The shape maximizes usable space, the structure helps everything stay organized, and the materials feel robust and dependable. Although my overall preference for visible branding is fairly moderate, I don't mind a few items, especially something like a Dopp kit, being a little more playful and featuring signature patterns. For me, it's all about intentionality and balance. What I appreciate most is how much it simplifies packing and organization. Everything has a designated place, everything everything remains accessible, and moving between destinations becomes more efficient. Once again, it's a relatively small reduction in friction, but one that gets repeated countless times over the years. Those small improvements eventually add up, and that's often where the true value of a luxury purchase reveals itself. Looking at this list, what stands out to me isn't just the brands, the cost, or the traditional idea of luxury as exclusivity. What stands out is the role these products play in everyday life. They save time, reduce friction, eliminate unnecessary decisions, and make routines more enjoyable. They bring a sense of order, functionality, and beauty to experiences that might otherwise feel ordinary. To me, that's what luxury has become. It's not about extravagance or excess. It's about thoughtful design applied to repeated experiences. It's about investing in products that consistently improve the moments that make up our daily lives. The things we use every day deserve attention because our days ultimately become our lives. When a product continues to improve those experiences year after year, that's when it truly earns its place. Those are the purchases I appreciate most, the ones that quietly improve life without constantly demanding attention. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more conversations around intentional living, thoughtful consumption, and elevating everyday experiences. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, live with intention.